Another head-turning personnel pick by President-elect Trump, choosing Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an anti-vaccine activist, to serve as Secretary of Health and Human Services. If confirmed by the U.S. Senate, Kennedy, an environmental lawyer, would lead a family of agencies responsible for protecting the health of Americans, including the Centers for Disease Control and Food and Drug Administration. In the past, Kennedy has spoken out against COVID vaccines and childhood vaccinations, though recently said he wouldn't take them away, endorsing Donald Trump after his own run for the White House ran aground. News of the RFK Jr. pick coming as both sides of the aisle in Washington are still weighing the viability of Mr. Trump's preference of former Congressman Matt Gaetz to serve as Attorney General. Von Hilliard begins our coverage.
Tonight, after teasing a potential administration role for weeks,
RFK Jr., he's going to help us on health and the health of women, and men, and children, and he is so good.
President-elect Trump selecting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be his next Secretary of Health and Human Services, writing, Americans have been crushed by the industrial food complex and drug companies who have engaged in deception, misinformation, and disinformation when it comes to public health. Kennedy is a former Democratic and independent presidential candidate who dropped out and endorsed Trump.
We want an America president who's going to make our country healthy again.
But he's faced criticism because of his history of vaccine skepticism, publicly espousing discredited assertions that vaccines cause autism. Vice President Harris slammed Trump for praising him.
He has indicated that the person who would be in charge of health care for the American people is someone who has routinely promoted junk science and crazy conspiracy theories.
Kennedy telling us last week that he would not block any vaccines.
I'm not going to take away anybody's vaccines. I've never been anti-vaccine.
You will not take any vaccine that is currently on the market.
I'm not, if vaccines are working for somebody, I'm not going to take them away.
During the campaign, Kennedy also made headlines when he said that 15 years ago, doctors told him he had a parasitic worm in his brain that died. Kennedy is a critic of U.S. healthcare policy, who's advocated for big changes to food and drug regulation, writing last month, the FDA's war on public health is about to end, telling us he would eliminate parts of the FDA.
The nutrition departments at FDA that have to go, that are not doing their job. They're not protecting our kids.
And Vaughn, we understand Kennedy is now responding to his selection.
Lester, just in the last few minutes, Kennedy writing in a statement that he's committed to making America healthy again, saying we, quote, have a generational opportunity to put an end to America's chronic disease epidemic. Lester?
All right, Von Hilliard starting us off. Thank you. And there are serious questions about the confirmation prospects of some of the president-elect's picks for top roles, including Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Here's Peter Alexander.
Tonight, President-elect Trump with more critical choices to come, including naming his economic team, as his set of picks are still sending shockwaves across Washington, especially the selection of conservative firebrand and now former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz for Attorney General.
He's an accomplished attorney. He's very concerned about the lawfare that has been occurring in the Department of Justice under the Biden administration.
Multiple sources with direct knowledge tell NBC News Gaetz has been placing calls to Senate Republicans to get their read on his chances to get confirmed. One Republican saying there's already enough opposition to sink his nomination.
He's got a really steep hill to climb to get lots of votes, including mine. A lot of people will spend a lot of political capital on something that even if they got done, you'd have to wonder if it was worth it.
Gaetz resigned his House seat overnight, abruptly ending the House Ethics Committee investigation into whether he engaged in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, allegations Gaetz denies. Tonight, a top Republican says senators should see the report.
I think there should not be any limitation on the Senate Judiciary Committee's investigation, including whatever the House Ethics Committee has generated.
Trump has repeatedly slammed the DOJ for what he says were political prosecutions designed to derail his presidency and campaign, praising Gaetz, who he says will end the, quote, partisan weaponization of our justice system.
The lawfare we've seen against President Trump will do great damage well beyond our time in public service.
Some Republicans argue after his decisive victory, Trump is entitled to the team he wants.
I'm telling my Democratic friends Elections have consequences, whether you like it or not.
Also facing a potential confirmation battle tonight, Trump's selection of Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary, a Fox News host and decorated combat veteran. But Democrats are questioning his readiness to lead the Pentagon.
He has no managerial experience and no policy experience with the really substantive and significant issues that the Department of Defense has to confront.
Tonight, some Republicans are defending the pick.
The Department of Defense has been enormously mismanaged under the current regime. They need to stop working on pronouns and get back to lethality, and someone like Pete can lead that.
Then there's Trump's pick for the Director of National Intelligence, former Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat turned Trump supporter who's also a military veteran. But some lawmakers have slammed her past meeting with Syria's leader and accuse her of being too sympathetic to Russia.
Someone who has aligned herself previously with Russia, with Syria, should not be in a position to have any of the information that is, America's greatest secrets.
Overnight, Gabbard speaking out.
Of course, there's going to be resistance to change from the swamp in Washington. I think that's kind of the point. The American people are saying, hey, stop looking at yourselves, stop focusing on your own power, your own position, your own bank accounts.
And Peter, President-elect Trump also finding an administration role for one of his personal attorneys.
Yeah, Lester, that's right. Trump announced that he has picked Todd Blanche, his lead defense attorney during his Manhattan criminal hush money trial, for Deputy Attorney General. Also tonight, a Trump spokesperson tells NBC News that Trump will pardon January 6 defendants on a case-by-case basis, effectively distancing the president-elect from any blanket pardon. Lester.
All right, Peter Alexander, thanks. Also breaking this evening, federal authorities in Houston announcing the arrest of a man accused of supporting ISIS and planning a possible terror attack on Jewish targets in Texas. Stephanie Gosk has late details.
Tonight, the FBI says they've stopped a possible terrorist attack in Houston.
We've taken a suspected terrorist off the streets of Houston, Texas.
According to the FBI, after his arrest on November 8th, Anas Saeed told federal agents about his plans to commit violence in the United States, including researching the layout and security at Jewish-related locations, such as synagogues, and expressing the desire to use an explosive belt.
He bragged that he would commit a 9/11 style attack if he only had the resources.
Agents say Saeed also told them he considered attacking members of the military if they supported Israel or if they had been deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq and killed Muslims there. He allegedly said those are the persons he would kill. According to court documents, Saeed admitted to federal agents that he created videos and images that glorified ISIS's violent attacks and tried several times to travel to join ISIS. The 28-year-old is charged with attempting to provide material support to ISIS. He's pleaded not guilty.
FBI agents have interviewed Saeed multiple times since he came to our attention in 2017. However, due to the October 7, 2023 Hamas attacks on Israel, Saeed's behavior began to mobilize towards violence.
Saeed's arrest comes just a month after a man originally from Afghanistan living in Oklahoma was arrested for an alleged plot to carry out an attack on Election Day on behalf of ISIS.
And Stephanie, what more do we know about the background of the suspect in Houston?
So he spent some of his childhood in Lebanon, Lester, but he was born here in the United States. And today the FBI said that the primary international terrorism threat to the U.S. is homegrown violent extremists just like him.
All right, Stephanie Goss, thank you. We're keeping a close watch in the Caribbean, where Tropical Storm Sarah formed today near the Nicaragua-Honduras border. It could bring torrential rain and catastrophic flooding to parts of Central America. By the middle of next week, its remnants could bring showers and thunderstorms across Florida. Now to the two astronauts who have been stuck on the space station for months now, and NASA says rumors that their health is being affected are untrue. Here's Emily Aketa.
What was supposed to be a roughly week-long mission has turned into months for NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore after technical issues aboard Boeing's Starliner stranded the pair at the International Space Station.
I think there's some rumors around outside there that are losing weight and stuff.
Now, NASA is trying to dispel rumors that their health is in jeopardy in the wake of recent images from their extended stay in space.
Actually, actually, in almost every mission that we have, we prepare for the astronauts to be able to have to stay longer.
NASA's chief medical officer says the duo's weight has not changed, but a shift in the body's fluid can slightly shift their appearance.
How are Sonny and Butch feeling?
Actually, they're feeling tremendous. They are busy. They're working on a lot of research on the orbital platform of the ISS. They're exercising.
We work out 2.5 hours a day, every single day.
Biking, lifting, and running.
I'm set to run 7 miles on this treadmill.
Experts say exercise is critical to combat muscle and bone density loss while living in weightlessness, along with weekly medical check-ins and carefully curated diets, as the astronauts slowly float closer to their February return to Earth.
Part of the astronauts' research is looking at how being in space impacts the human body. That intel could help treat bone loss here on Earth and prepare for future trips to Mars. Lester?
Okay, Emily, thank you. Now to a question so many families grapple with: at what age can the kids be left on their own? That question now coming into sharp focus with an incident in Georgia where a mother thought that 10 was old enough. Yasmin Vasugian has more.
Kids are under arrest.
Brittany Patterson never thought taking her son for a medical appointment would result in a mugshot.
What am I under arrest for? For reckless endangerment.
Late last month, a mother of 4 arrested in front of her children.
The police are here and they're taking me to jail. So I need you to come stay with the kids.
It was anger and frustration, of course, because my children were having to witness that.
You're taking me to jail. I love you. Love you too, baby.
According to the sheriff's report, while she was out with one child, Brittany wasn't sure where her 10-year-old Soren was, but figured he was around the house. Instead, Soren had decided to take a walk in Mineral Bluffs, Georgia, to the Dollar General, less than a mile from the house.
It's really not even a town, hardly.
A rural area, population around 370.
It's not a super dangerous or even dangerous at all stretch of road.
But the catch? Brittany didn't know her son Soren had done that until a sheriff's deputy called.
So when you got that phone call, hey, do you know your kid is in town? What did you think?
I said no. I didn't know he was in town. I was not expecting them to say that.
Do you know your phone number for your mom?
The sheriff's incident report says when the deputy called Brittany, she recalled when it was time to leave that morning, she, quote, couldn't find Soren anywhere. But Brittany felt okay leaving, given her mother lives a 1-minute walk away. She now faces a misdemeanor charge of reckless conduct, up to a year in jail, and a $1,000 fine. Neither the district attorney nor sheriff's department would comment for this story. But the sheriff's report says Brittany was, as she put it, quote, at her wit's end with dealing with Soren. Her lawyer says she was asked to sign a safety plan for her son, including a GPS tracker, before prosecutors would consider dropping the charges.
This is not right. I did nothing wrong. And I'm going to fight for that.
Yasmin Vasugian, NBC News.
In 60 seconds, what's driving the exodus from